Well, good morning, class. Today I'm going to give you a brief overview of exercise 1C, and also this is a very good example of how you should submit and format all of your papers for this course. And when I say all of your papers, sometimes there may be some activities that require you to do it a little bit different. So just be sure to read the instructions carefully. So I know some of you are not perhaps used to using APA style, which is okay because it's very simple, very easy, very much like MLA or whatever other style you might be used to using. So, by the way, anything you see in blue, those are just instructions. Certainly do not include this information on your paper. No, okay? Um, with your running head, oh, and let me click on here. One of the things you'll notice in Google Docs, and that's what I'm using, it's easier for me to use Google Docs to show you how to do this. Um, if you're using Microsoft Word or Apple Pages, then it'd be a little bit different. And I will assume if you're using Pages or Word, you know how to use it. So you should be fine. But make sure you select different first page header, so you'll have just the running head on the first one. Okay, and then of course the title of your paper, and this would be, for example, exercise 1C, the name of the course, my name, your name, and the date. And all of this, once again, Times New Roman, 12-point font. In using Google Docs, you have to set up your page. So your page set up for APA style should be portrait, 8.5 by 11, page color is white or blank, and your margin should be 1 inch all the way around. And just click OK. And if you're using Google Docs, you can set it as default, so you won't have to manually reset it every time. And then that way your paper will line up nicely. Now for exercise 1C, I think some of you overthought it a little bit, so I want you to relax. And all you need to do is follow the instructions and submit each of the graphs that I have requested. Now these are just sample graphs. These may not represent the specific set of instructions that you have. So whether it's a bar graph or a column graph or a line graph or a pie chart, you need to make sure you read the instructions carefully and just very simply submit a correctly formatted graph. And there is a PDF on how to create a graph, and that's in the instructions. And you should look at it and make sure you include all the correct parts of your graph or chart labeled correctly. You gotta have a title, you should have a legend, you have a source, and certainly identify your X and Y axes. If you don't know what that is, make sure you read the little handout that I've given you. Okay, and now you'll notice you have your graph on your page. And let me make this paper a little bit smaller. Okay, you want to make sure you basically center each of your graphs for this particular assignment in the center of the page. Sometimes you have to eyeball it, or sometimes simply count how many lines down that you are you're placing your graphs or chart on your page. Okay, so that's your first graph. And I think in your instructions it might say graph A. Okay, and then here's B. And as you can see, it does look a little off-centered, but that might be because of the legend, but you can just pull it over and there, looks much better. So that would be graph B. And of course you would have it labeled within the scope of the graph. And here's number C. That looks a little bit much. And if it doesn't look like it's sized right, you're just gonna grab these little edges and make sure it lines up properly. Okay, gonna pull that in a little more. Yep, that looks better, looks good. Really, this assignment there's two key points about this assignment, this exercise, is that your graph looks good, that it's labeled correctly, and that your paper looks good overall. Okay, and here, of course, is your ubiquitous pie chart. So you've got it centered on the page, you've got your legend, and make sure it's legible. And I know you're seeing these in color, but I just put color ones in here as an example, okay? Yours should be in shades of gray um, for the purposes of this assignment. And I know you've seen my video on how to create a chart or graph in shades of gray. And then, of course, you want to have references. Let me go a little bit larger so you can read this. Okay. You need to make sure that for the tables that you utilize, that you actually cite the references correctly, including the link and when you assessed it. Not the actual PDF of the table, because I already gave those to you, but cite it properly. If you don't know how to cite it, you can Google it. How to cite it, how to cite a census.gov table, statistical table. Real easy. And that is all there is to it. So simple, so easy to do. And if you submit anything other than this, you're probably not going to receive the grade that you would like and possibly have to do it over until you get it right. Okay? So that's all there is to it. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you didn't, let me know so I can learn to improve. Thank you for watching and have a great day.